Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs. Thanks for joining me today for a project share for Country Craft Creations. In this video, I will be showing you a mini album that I created using the Midnight Kiss collection. And this was a New Year's Eve themed collection and I had so much fun creating with it. And I can't wait to show you what I made. Okay, so here is my mini album, which really isn't that mini. It is 11.5 inches long and 5 3/4 inches wide. I really wanted to put a clock tower on the front cover, and so that's why I made it so long. But you could shorten this to 10 or even 10.5 if you wanted. I just really love the size that I created here. So on the front, you'll see I did some gold glitter paper, and then I have the collection on top of that. I did fussy cut out the couples so that I could put my clock tower behind them, which I've used some gold mirror card, and then the pink and gold here is the collection. I use my Cricut to cut out all of the little elements that you'll see like this throughout the collection. I'll point those out for you. And I will have a project sheet and Cricut file link for those that have that cutting machine. All the information will be down in the description box for you. So also on the front, I added this Joyous New Year's, which I put up on foam tape so that you could have some dimension there. I added some Bow Bunny gemstones here throughout just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I hope you can see them. This is such a pretty collection. Here is the side. I did leave it all gold. I thought about putting some balloons down the side, but I just didn't. I don't know, I kind of like that. And on the back side, we have the gold glitter layered with the paper from the collection. I love this particular paper. It is so gorgeous. We have a tufted back, and then the balloons and the little shimmer here. Gorgeousness. Okay, let's go inside. So on the inside, we have our front and back cover, as well as 6 pages, which equal 12 when you consider front and back of each of those pages. So I was thinking about how a New Year's Eve night goes, and we start over here on the left-hand side with our New Year's Eve party invitation, which would be great to fill out the date, time, and location of where you spent your New Year's Eve. And then behind that, I have this as a little text spot. I have the envelope, and inside a journaling card, wishing you the best year yet. Super cute. All of these pieces are included in the collection. I added a little tab here so that it would make it easy for you to lift this up, and you'll reveal 2 photo mats. Now this photo mat does come out, and you can just tuck your photo right in there. And on this one, you can tuck your photo right underneath the little corners. Now these corners come in the collection, but these are from Heidi Swap. This is a magnetic closure, as well as on this side. I love this paper. Kind of looks like a chauffeur, or he could be your date for the evening, but he's here to pick you up for the party. And when you open this up, you have 2 photo mats again. This one has a little area where you could write a little something and tuck your photo underneath. Again, you can tuck your photo right into the photo corners on both of these photo mats. Now on the bottom, before I close this, I want to show you that there is a little half pocket here. On the front, I added this little New York scenery. I love that little tag, super cute. And in there, of course, I had to put a super cute, tiny little tag that says celebrate. I just cut this out of the paper. I added some Yarn Bee bejeweled sequin ribbon, I guess. Sorry, it's all a mess. And in the pocket, I included a journaling card that says, "This is your year to sparkle." I love the pockets that were included in this collection, so I had to showcase them. Over here we have two of them. Pop the champagne with these cute heels. Oh my gosh, those heels are gorgeous. And the champagne bottle. And then up at the top, of course, we have the clock. And inside we have some of the journaling cards. And you can add photos to the back side. Over here on the front, we have this beautiful paper of you're at the party now, you're taking off your shawl, and you're getting ready to enjoy the evening. You can tuck a photo here on the front side, and then also here on the side, this pulls out a photo mat. Wake me for the ball drop, and then on the back side, you can add your photo here. On our next page here, I did a full page side pocket. So inside the pocket, you'll find this big 4x10 mat. And here you can add ephemera pieces. You can add some journaling. I did add a strip of the gold glitter paper here. And on the back side, I added these cute little photo mats where you can add photos to it. Now, if you're wondering about the size of the photo mat, if you come over here to the opposite side, you will find a template that you can use for each one of these. I wanted to make sure that there was enough places to journal in this album as well as capture photos. For the decor, I added some of that matte gold cardstock here on the edge. I took one of the border strips and fussy cut that out with the banner there. I love how that turned out. Down here, I added some photo props, and I just cut this out of black cardstock. I thought your eyes needed a place to rest, and so the black cardstock gives that to you. These images are from Cricut Design Space. On our next page here, I wanted to create a waterfall, but I didn't want to do a traditional waterfall. So I created two photo mats that are staggered and layered on top of each other. Here, of course, we have this cute little tuck spot on top of that one. And then down below, I fussy cut out the party and champagne glasses and added that there for some decor. Down below, I repeated the same thing and fussy cut out the couple here. This is the center of the mini album, and I absolutely had so much fun creating it. Again, it was another vision that I had. I wanted to include a huge champagne bottle. I found this perfect image in Cricut Design Space where I created an overlay so that I could layer it all together. I used some foil card here at the top, and I actually used some real cork, and I got this from the Dollar Tree. I fussy cut this out to go there, and I love that. Added some champagne glasses over here with the paper collection there in the center. And down here we have a little pocket. As well, I made the champagne bottle like a belly band where it's adhered at the top and bottom, and you can tuck stuff there in between. This is the photo mat that I have in there. Just love that. On these two pages, I mirrored the design that I previously created. I just really liked it. And I have our staggered photo mats here on the left-hand side. This little element here is a little tuck spot, and again, we have a little template. Those are magnetic closures. And then down here at the bottom, this image is from the collection, and I created a belly band. On the right-hand side, we have Auld Lang Syne. This is from the collection as well. Again, I added some of that matte mirror card. Really just love using that as an accent piece. And we have another 4x10 mat. Added some of the onyx, pearlescent onyx paper here on the edge, and on the back side, some photo mats. So here I did some paper blocking and matted this beautiful paper from the collection in the center. I have a little tab here that helps you open this magnetic closure. We have an area here on the left-hand side where you could tuck a photo in, or a note, or some memorabilia from the evening, and then you can add a photo here in this spot. On this side, again, I used the pockets that were included in the collection. Just had to use them. I loved them all. The one that I really loved, let me show you. This one, I love this, but I didn't even use it. I think I might have been hoarding it. But anyways, back to these. So what was great about these pockets is they actually had another piece with them, and I cut them off. So if you look here, this was all one piece, and I cut this off when I was laying it down because you didn't need to see the back part of it in this type of style. So then I used the cutoff part to make my tags, and I think these just look really cute. And again, up here, I added this from the border strip and then did a little fussy cutting around it, but it was part of the pocket there. And of course, we couldn't have a party without stopping in the photo booth. I created this design using Cricut Design Space and cutting it out. I added a curtain here to one side like you would see in a normal photo booth. I just thought that was kind of fun. And I adhered it down so that you could actually tuck a photo underneath there. I included this little ephemera piece so that you would know you can tuck something underneath. I used my Cricut machine to actually write the word photo booth, and used a Heidi Swap stamp to stamp out this cute little camera and adhered it with a adhesive dot. This has a magnetic closure, so when you open it up, you have a side here where you could add a photo or journaling. You could even put the title of what that page might be about. And over here on this side, I love this paper. I wanted you to be able to see it from the side and the top, as well as be able to see it fully. So we have our 3 photo mats that go along with the photo booth. And then I added this little element here to hide the magnet, and it holds some of your photo mats like that. But here again is the full page. I just love that. It's gorgeous. On the back side, I created a pocket down here at the bottom, added an ephemera piece that says cheers to the new year. And I did include one of the little shaker ticket that I created for the New Year's Eve party props. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below for you. It was really fun to use this collection to make party props, and this was one that I did. So I wanted to include it in this album. And then here's a tag that I created, this Midnight Kiss, and these lips were actually in Cricut Design Space, and I thought it was perfect. That's the name of the collection. So I made a big tag out of that. I love that. And up here we have the clock, and that's layered on some gold mirror card. So that is my New Year's Eve mini album. I absolutely love how this turned out. I hope you will give this a try. It was super easy to create because I used a stack the pages, and I also used the lay flat binding method from Country Craft Creations. So if you want to learn how to create this, stay tuned because the tutorial follows. And if you're unable to do that right now, I thank you for joining me, and I hope that you enjoyed this project. To create the cover, we're going to be using the lay flat binding method, which was created from Country Craft Creations, Tamara, the owner. And so that's what we'll be using today. To create your cover, you're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard, and these will measure 5 3/4 by 11.5. This is medium weight chipboard. So 2 of these will be the front and back cover. To cover your chipboard pieces for the front and back cover, you're going to need some black cardstock, and you're going to cut down a 12 by 12 sheet, and one piece will measure 7 1/4 by 12. We can use this extra piece that was left from what we cut off, which is 4 3/4 by 12. We're going to cut this down to 4 3/4 by 11.5. And once you fold these over and the bottoms on top inward, you can put this piece over the center to cover the part that isn't covered by the first piece. A great way to use your 12 by 12. Once you've cut out your 2 pieces of black cardstock that you're going to use to cover your front and back covers, I wanted to show you how you can use your scoring tool to create the spot to put your chipboard so that you have everything even. So I like to use my scoreboard. We're going to put this in long ways. So the 12 inches across the top, you're going to score at 1/4 of an inch and 11 3/4. Rotate it once to the right, and you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch and 6.5. So this now has the perfect placement for you to put your chipboard. I've already added adhesive to the back of mine. And I'm just going to line that up with the score lines that we just created. Now we can take and fold over our chipboard onto the cardstock and start to train the paper so that we can glue that down to the chipboard. I've added adhesive all the way around on my piece, but I want to come back to when we did our scoring for just a moment. When we did, it created a little block in each of the corners. And we're going to cut these out, just this one little bitty corner. So I'm just cutting straight down and across, right on the score lines. And now we can go ahead and put down the sides of the paper. Now, if you don't want these two to overlap at all, you could cut out this little square right here. But because this is so small as it is, I'm not going to worry about it. Now, when you're done, we want to make sure our sides are completely flat. So if you have like a little notch like that, just go ahead and cut that off. Now we can take that extra piece I was telling you about and put that over the piece in the middle to cover it up. Now, if you want to be more exact, this comes out to 4.5 inches wide by 11, a little bit over 11 1/8. So if you want to have it just fill the blank spot, you could cut this down. If you don't mind that there's overlap, then you can use the original size that I gave you. So do the same process to your second chipboard piece, and then you will have your front and back covers covered. For our spine, we're going to need one piece of chipboard that is 2 by 11.5. To cover our chipboard, you could do the same thing that we did before. Use 1 inch, put your chipboard down, and cut another inch off. So that would be 4 inches by 12, and then wrap over the small edge onto the chipboard. However, I thought I might do something a little different since this is going to be the spine. I'm putting the tip of my 12 by 12 in 6. So at the 5 mark, I'm making a line, and at the 7 going down, just to line up my chipboard here, at the 2 mark over here. Okay, so then I'm going to score at 8 all the way down and 4. So once we've scored at 4 and 8 all the way down, we can bring out our cutting machine. Tried to use my Fiskars trimmer, and I cut the edges off here at the end. I just lined up my 4 and 8 mark, cut straight across, but it still didn't allow me enough room to get in there to cut this off. So I'm going to use a knife blade and a ruler and just cut where the score line is. And now if we lay our chipboard on here, we'll have about 1 inch from each end once you've cut these little points off. Okay? Now if you want to do it the other way, you certainly can. I just wanted to have more paper around the spine. Okay, I've added adhesive to the back of my chipboard piece, and I'm going to go ahead and get this laid down. And I'm using the 2 lines that I made earlier at the 5 and 7 mark. And I'm going to put this back into my scoreboard and make score lines. Okay, so it looks like that. And now we're just going to cut out these little boxes. Okay, let's turn this over. We're going to, where the chipboard is, burnish around where the chipboard is. So now we're going to adhere the front and back cover to our spine piece. I'm going to use my scoreboard again, taking the spine piece and turning it upside down, putting it in the corner here to nestle it in there. Now we're going to add adhesive about 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch down from the chipboard piece, right where we made that indentation. Go down about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch, and then add glue all the way down in that section. You don't want to go too close because the glue will gush out, and then it can glue the 2 pieces together when they're flat, but then when you go like this, it could tear your paper. Okay? Take one of your covers, line this up right where the indentation is, very snugly. So line those 2 pieces up. That's what's great about using the scoreboard. It will help you keep everything aligned at the bottom. Just going to flip this over, give it a quick burnish. Repeat the same process on the other side. To cover the inside spine that we have bare here, we're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 5 by 11.5, and just glue that down over the center. So it will be about a 1/2 inch beyond the 1-inch piece that we laid down earlier. So it'll be like that. Okay, so go ahead and add that. Once you have your piece adhered down, we're going to take our bone folder, go into the crease here, and start lifting up on the left-hand side. We'll do that side first, and just kind of work it. And now we have our cover completed. So now I'm going to show you how I'm decorating my cover. And just remember that you can decorate the cover however you want. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. I'm going to be using a Cricut image, and I don't know if everybody has that, but I will be providing that information for those that do. You can find that in the project sheet. So for my first layer, I'm going to be using this slick glitter paper pad that I have from Michael's from a couple years ago. This is Recollections, and it looks like this. What's nice about it is it has a coating over the glitter, so you don't even feel the glitter. So I'm going to be layering my front and back pieces, as well as the spine, with the gold, the slick glitter. And this measures 5.5 by 11.25. So that will go down first. What I'm giving you is an 1/8 inch border all the way around. For the decorative piece, that will go on top of the gold. This measures 5.25 by 11. So that's for the front and back cover. For your spine, your gold piece will be 1 3/4 by 11.25. And your decorative piece, which I haven't cut yet, which would be something like this, would measure 1.5 by 11. And then you just layer that on top of the gold. Now I'm going to move these pieces aside so we can talk about the front cover. For the front of your cover, we're going to do the same with the gold, and this will measure 5.5 by 11.25. Now I'm going to just set that aside because I know it's pretty shiny. And as you could probably tell, I used this piece for my cover. I cut that down. This is going on the back side, and this part here with the dancing is going on the front. Now, bear with me as I explain this to you. So when I was thinking about creating this album, I wasn't sure what size I wanted to make it. And so I cut out the couples because I knew I wanted that on my front of my cover. So after I figured out the sizing, I knew immediately I wanted to put a clock tower on the front. So that's what I've done using Cricut Design Space, and we'll go over that in a moment. So after I add my clock tower here and re-add my dancers, it all aligns to the proper size. And these pieces that are cut out will be hidden by the clock, okay? You'll see as we go along. So I'm fine with adding this, even though there's a chunk out of it. It's still going to get covered, and you're not going to be able to see that because my dancers are going to go right over top of it. If you would like to leave your dancers on there and then cut a slit by outlining them and then tuck your clock down in there, you could do that as well. I don't know if it will line up exactly. You might have to cut more off the top, and I actually wanted to have the 2 mirror balls there. So in this case, you would have to, because see, it's about 1 inch up from the end. I hope this is making sense. Helps if I'm in frame. Okay. Let's put this together, and then I'll do the spine and the back cover off screen, just so that you can see where I'm going. First, let's put together the clock tower. So I cut the clock out in gold foil with a welded piece that I created for the back shadow. And then I have some other pieces using the pink paper with the music notes on the back side to add decoration on the top. I'll have all of this information in the project sheet, as I mentioned. Why? I don't know why this is so squeaky. Just going to line these two pieces together, and this way you'll be able to see where all the pieces go. I didn't use all of the pieces that came with the clock tower. I just didn't think it was necessary. Unless you want a more dimensional clock, then I would search for, clocks, and you'll find this one. Okay, now there's a piece that looks like this that needs inked. I'm just going to use some black archival ink around the edge. Oh, you know what? I probably should have used adhesive tape. I'm not sure this sticks to gold. So you can see here when I added it, I offsetted this just slightly so that you could see the gold shine through there. Now I'm going to add the gold ring here. And you're going to leave some space around that. About 1/8 of an inch, it looks like. You'll see a piece that looks like this, and that will go over the top there. This goes snug to the circle, so go right over it. Next, we'll add this shaped piece, and that will go right here. We'll have a triangle piece, and that will go up here at the top. You'll have a circle that looks like this, but I'm changing it to where it looks like 9 o'clock. That will go glued here in the center. Again, you're going to have a border around it of the black, and then we're going to put the gold hands right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue all that down. And here's what it looks like at the end. I really love this, so cute. I have added adhesive to the back of my gold piece, and I'm going to go ahead and put that down. To make sure I get these in the right placement, I'm going to add just a bead of glue at the bottom to get this on where it needs to be. And when I do that, I'm lining it up all the way over to the edge, because her head is kind of flat here because of the way it's in the picture, just so that you know. And then I guess I'll try to glue it all down later. It's really just to get the clock in line. And then for the clock, it's going to go underneath here. Now, you could put this anywhere that you like it. I like it where their heads are down at the lower part, not at the height of the clock. And I don't mind if I'm covering that couple up, because it's like they're behind the clock dancing. All about perspective. Okay, so here's my cover. I did add this Joyous New Year. I put it up on foam squares, and I really, really love the cover. It's just like I envisioned. And I went ahead and added the back cover. I'm leaving this just the gold right now until I see if I have any scraps. I don't want to run out of paper for my pages. So I am loving this. Now the measurements that I gave you for the gold and decorative paper, you can use those same measurements for the inside of your cover. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you can, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. To decorate the inside front cover, I cut one piece of cardstock. I had Doris Pearlescent Onyx, and I cut that to 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. I scored at 1/2 inch, and I folded that over onto the full-size decorative piece, and that is 5 1/2 by 11 3/8. And then I glued those two pieces down to the inside front cover. What this created was a 5 by 7 area so that you could put a photo mat. I used the corners from the collection and then added a piece of white cardstock that I cut down to that size. I later realized I didn't add a magnet, so I went back to add that so that we would have a nice magnetic closure. For the back inside cover, I cut one decorative piece that was 5 1/2 by 7 3/8. And then I cut a piece that was 5 1/2 by 4. I again used the Pearlescent Onyx cardstock, and I cut that down to 6 1/2 by 5. I took that piece and scored it on 3 sides at 1/2 inch each so that I could create a bit of a dimensional pocket. For the pages of this album, we're going to do stack the pages. And I thought that would be something fun for this New Year's Eve album. So we're going to start out needing 3 pieces of cardstock. I'm using black. And we're going to take the 12 by 12. We're going to cut each of those 3 pages down to 12 by 11. Now we're going to need our scoring tool. So on the first page, we're going to score at 5 1/4, and we're going to go over 1 1/2 inches, which is 6 3/4. Okay, let's get out our next page. This is the 12 by 11, and we're going to score this one at 5 1/2 and 6 1/2. On our third page, we're going to score at 5 3/4 and 6 1/4. Now we can go ahead and fold on our score lines and burnish. Go ahead and do that for all of your pages. When I'm adhering adhesive to the back of the page with the 1-inch spine, I do have a 1-inch adhesive tape. But when you line it up, it kind of goes into where the score line is, and I don't want that. So I'm going to be using the 1 1/2 inch and probably a 3/8 inch. I would rather be safe to make sure that it's on the inside of where the score lines are rather than going over it. I hope that makes sense. So this is the 1/2 inch spine, and I'm just using 3/8 inch tape. So now we're going to adhere our pages together, and I thought it might be a nice idea to use our scoreboard to help us do that. So I folded back the adhesive strips, and I'm putting this in the scoreboard here so that my pages line up. So there we have our pages, our 1/4 of an inch gusset. You guys, that's the way to do it. It was so easy. And look, our pages are flush. at the top and bottom. Excellent. All right, let's do the next one. Just gonna pull this down a little bit. Put this on top of my pages. I'm starting over here on the left-hand side, pushing against the left-hand side here, and then moving it up to the top. And then I'm pushing my page down and folding it flat out. That way it gets your pages all flush at the top. Okay? And actuality, you can just pull this and move your fingers along as you do, and they should line up as well at the bottom. Let's fold over our page, 1/4 of an inch gusset. Looks good. Now just burnish. I'm just going to take it off here. Okay, and when you fold this over, you'll see the staggered pages. Really fun. So now we're going to take our pages, and I'm folding back some of the covering for the adhesive, and I'm going to center this 1/4 of an inch down from the top and 1/4 of an inch in from the sides. Both sides. You could use your ruler to make some marks so that you know exactly where to place this, or guess, which is kind of what I'm doing. I have a little bit of a tick mark there. I think I'm just going to lay this down and put it on. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so the best way to do that is to actually just lay it down and put it down onto the spine. And let's see. Yep, 1/4 of an inch. And line the other side up and then push that down. Then when you think you have it down, go ahead and burnish. Okay, now that we have the pages in, I'm going to go ahead and decorate them. I'm going to add a photo mat underneath here. This is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I'm going to kind of put it over where the magnet is so it's not so prominent, but just kind of centering it between the 5 by 7 here. And I'm using Heidi Swap photo corners. And I'm adding a 4 by 6 white cardstock photo mat. For our first page, I'm going to add a 5 by 7 photo mat here. It will be covered by this paper. And then I'm going to use some more of this pearlescent down here to make a pocket. For this page, I cut out a piece that's 5 3/4 by 7 1/2. I scored it a half, burnished, and I'm going to be adding my decorative paper, and this measures 5 by 7 1/4, and the flip is going to go this direction. Okay. For our next page, I'm going to create a long side pocket. So this is 4 1/4 by 10 3/4. And I cut out a piece of the onyx paper again. And that is 1 by 10 3/8. I'm going to cut that down. And then I also cut out 1/8 of an inch of this matte mirror card that I have. And I'm going to put that in between the two pieces. Like this. I think that's going to look cute. I will decorate this as well, putting some other elements on top of it. But on the other page, I'm using this cute party page here. And then what I did was cut out 4 little squares. Now these are 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. I scored at 1/2 inch on the 4 1/2 inch side. Folded that down. And I'm creating a kind of like a waterfall, but I didn't want to actually create a waterfall. I like to do different things. And so what I'm doing is stacking, and I'm staggering 2 of these together. And they're going to go like this. And then I created 2 more, and I'm going to put them down here. I think it'll be fun to be able to see the paper underneath. And I'll, of course, put other decorative paper on top, but I'm waiting to see what I have left. So that is the main layout for this page. I'm going to be using the Old Lang Syne paper. It's going to go like this. I'm using this little pocket. I did add some foiling. It's like a matte mirror card around the edges just to make it stand out a little bit. I'm going to put that on the back side when I glue it down. I created these adorable little champagne glasses. I put some of the pink paper on the inside there, but I did use, again, that matte mirror cardstock. I'm going to put those up there. Then you can put a photo mat or whatever you want into this cute little pocket. On this side, for this page, I'm going to kind of mirror some of the other pages that I did just for consistency in this album. So I'm using this piece, and it is 5 1/2 by 10 3/4. It'll go on the left-hand side. I'm mirroring the waterfall feature that I created. It's kind of like a waterfall feature with the double stacked photo mats here and here. And if you noticed, before I had them stacking this way so that it would lead your eyes inward on the page. And for this one, because I have them on this side, I'm stacking them the other way, and it will lead your eyes to this side of the page. So these will be over here like that. And then for this side, I cut down this page to 4 1/4 by 10 3/4. That will be here. And again, I'm making one of those long side pockets. I just like that idea. This is 1 by 10 3/4. And then again, I'll have my 1/8 inch strip that will go in between. I just think that looks so good. Very sharp. Okay, for this page, what I'm doing is some of the paper blocking. Again, I'm going to put this onyx color at the top. It is 1 3/8 by 5 1/4 up here at the top. At the bottom, I'll have one that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to be putting this larger piece in the center. This is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. And remember, I'll have all the measurements in the project sheet, so if I don't always give you the measurements, don't worry, I didn't forget you. And so I'll piece this together. And again, I'll put the gold mirror card in between the 1/8 inch mirror card on the top and bottom here. And what I've done on this piece is on the right-hand side, I've gone in and scored 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to create this to be a flip open or flip out, whatever you want to call it. So we'll have these here and here. and then you'll be able to open this up like that, and I'll have a white photo mat underneath that. I just thought that would be kind of cute. I don't think I'm going to cut into this, at least right now. So that's this page. On the opposite side, I'm using the back of the music sheet paper. I just really love this one. And this is cut down to 5 by 10 3/4. And then I'm using these cute little pockets. I just had to use these. They're all so adorable. The Happy New Year's one and the one of the couple. I think I'm going to cut the backing off on this one, or cut it to be shorter like this. Let's just do it about 1/2 inch. And then you're going to taper the ends. And then when you put that down, it's just like the other one. Then it will give you a little bit more room when you put it down and put your tag inside. Now this one, I'm debating on whether or not to cut it down. It would look like this. Oh, this is the wrong side. That means I scored on the wrong side. Darn it. This is the side that I'm wanting. So if I have paper, I'll probably recut that. But if not, then I might make my flip this way because I've already scored it. But that's the paper that I wanted, because I was just like, wait, these mirror each other, and I already used this side of the paper. So I wanted to use that side. So I think that looks okay if we cut that off. I also think it looks fine if you want to leave it there. So I'll leave that to you to decide on what you want to do for your page. So I think I've decided to cut it off, and I'm going to again go about 1/2 inch, cut that off, and taper my ends. Perfect. And it will look like that. Okay, now I'm on the last page. You've already seen me do the back inside cover, and I selected this paper to go on the back side. That's why I put this cut apart here, so that it would mirror it. And every good party has a photo booth, so I thought it would be really cool to include a photo booth here. So again, in Cricut Design Space, I modified this British phone booth to be a photo booth, and I added white cardstock in the back. I actually cut off part of the card that was there. It was supposed to be a phone booth card, but I cut that off because it's not needed. We're going to use this as a hinge. And then I wrote the word photo booth here at the top with my Cricut. I used the foil here to be a curtain. So as you walk into the photo booth, you close the curtain to take your photos. So this little hinge is going to go on the back side of my paper, all the way down here to the bottom. This is 8 1/4 inches tall, I believe. Yes. So this will go down here on my page. And then I left the foil open so that you could tuck a photo in there. So I'm adding this little cut apart piece right in underneath it, so that right away that you can put something there in that spot. I've also used some of these little photo mats. They're like little Instack photo mats. They're actually bigger than Instack, but you get the idea. And these were cut out using Cricut Design Space as well. But you could easily make your own little photo mats by taking one color cardstock in the back and then cutting out a little white square and putting that on it, and you would easily get the effect of a photo mat. So I have 3 of these, and this is going to be a magnetic closure here, and I'm going to tuck the 3 little photo frames around the photo booth like that, and then you'll be able to open this up put a photo here or journal here, and then you'll be able to see the beautiful paper. I hated covering it. I hated cutting into it. I just love this. And I wanted to be able to preserve it. So that was my solution. So this will close down onto the photo frames there, but they'll peek out of the photo booth, which I think is fun. So that's how that page will look. On the opposite side, I'm using the clock from the cut-aparts. I added it onto foil cardstock there. Going to put that there. And again, in Cricut Design Space, I found this tag that I liked, and then I found this sentiment. It said Daddy's Midnight Kiss, which was weird. So I cut out the Daddy's part, and I welded Midnight Kiss into the tag, and then I cut out these gold lips that also came with this image. And then on the back, I cut out white cardstock so that you could add a photo or journal here as well. And this is going to go in the back pocket. I made this large as well, since we have plenty of room here. This is 8 1/4 by 3 1/8. I didn't want to cover the clock, so I like how that's going to look. I did consider adding some decorative paper or something down the center here, but when you did, it kind of took away from the sides. Let me show you. So I thought about using that matte mirror gold and putting that here down the center, but I think it just kind of took away from these sides and made you focus here. And then I tried it with the others, and I kind of just felt the same way. So I didn't put anything down there, but you certainly could. There's plenty of room to do that. So that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and project share for my New Year's Eve mini album. I love this. You just don't really see this type of mini album, and this was so fun to create with this wonderful Midnight Kiss collection. I hope you'll give it a try. Very easy to make and really quite fun. It was great to see my vision come to life. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.